In our last episode, we highlighted the reality that most people first encounter the story of the birth of Christ during the Christmas season or on Christmas Day. Unfortunately, this view is usually a mixture of fact and fiction, with a lot of traditions that do not have their roots in the Bible. Some of the discoveries we made were things like the word Christmas does not originate from the Bible. Jesus was not born on the 25th of December. Most Christmas traditions have pagan origins. If you have not watched our last episode, please do so because we have covered much more there. We also said that if you dilute the birth of Jesus with the traditions of men, you make it less meaningful and therefore you will not benefit from the principles and realities therein. Today, we continue to uncover more myths associated with Christmas as we journey towards the real implication of the birth of Christ.
We want to go at some of the what we call the traditions.
The traditions of Christmas.
These
are the ones we protect.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't even know what they mean or where they came from. Like, for example, if you talk of the 12 days of Christmas,
Yes.
You're like, okay, what
Nice
are those?
song.
Yeah, here we are in Africa. We're talking about 12 days of Christmas. What does that mean?
So for most of us, by then the African continent has no meaning.
Yes.
But in many countries, it's a big deal. And they have even activities
For the 12
for
days
each day. But where did you get the 12 days? 25th December,
to 6th.
6th January. Not the Bible.
All right.
So there are 12 days of Christmas. There are not 12 days of the birth of Jesus. Let's now start
Christmas
separating.
as
An event,
as
a festival, festivities.
Yes.
Let's give it its due. And like we said, because of the amalgamation, all right?
Yeah.
Christmas has room to add,
Can come up with something.
to come up with all sorts of things. In other words, as we go through, we'll see that many things that were in people's cultures,
Yes.
when they joined the Christmas bandwagon,
Just bring you as an
they
added
brought
here.
theirs and added it.
So
the list is still growing, by the way.
when you talk about, you remember when Paul was talking about the unknown God?
Yes.
That he was in a place where there were more gods than people.
Yes.
Meaning, if you come up with a God, bring him, add him here, we are okay.
Exactly.
As we don't have a problem with that. That's the same
Yes.
thing here. Because now, tell us about the word Christmas.
The word Christmas.
Because you're talking about mixture.
Yes.
Coming up with many things from many places and causing this one thing that now Christians, remember
Yes.
we are talking about Christians,
Yes.
not Muslims,
Yes.
not Hindus, not atheists. These are Christian mess.
Yeah.
Let me call it that. It's a Christian mess. Muslims will be looking at you and wondering, what are you saying? It doesn't affect us.
Let me say at this very point
Yeah?
that Christmas has now become a tradition of Christians, not of the Bible.
All right. Of Christians.
Christians have a tradition.
Okay, called
Just like
Christmas.
every culture has a tradition.
Yes.
And like every tradition, it can make of no effect.
The word of God. So when you say the word Christmas, because this is another word, and you look at it how we come from Christmas to
Yes.
Xmas to.
All right.
Let's talk about
like
that
we
word.
said earlier,
Yes.
Christmas basically comes from two words combined by Constantine.
Yes.
The Mass of Christ. Like we have the Mass of Invictus or the Mass of whatever.
So this is the Mass of Christ.
All right?
All right.
It's the Mass of Christ. Now, originally they would call it the Mass of Christ. Later they shortened it to Christmas.
Okay.
Christ dash Mass. Christmas. Then Christmas, remove one S. It's been evolving. And it even got to Xmas now. This is the funny part.
Yes.
The funny part is this. There are Christians who are offended when you say Xmas. Instead of Christmas, they say you're removing Christ
From the Mass.
word Christmas. First of all, who put him there?
He's not supposed to be.
To begin with, he doesn't belong there.
So I'm getting offended that you're writing for me Merry Xmas
Or Happy
and you've-
Holidays.
and you've removed Christ.
You're not saying Christmas anymore because you're
Yet
removing
Christ
Christ.
is the
Was
wait.
bundled.
He is the reason for the season.
season.
You know those are things we picked
You
up.
know what?
He was never meant to be.
is the reason for the season.
If you need someone to be the reason for the season.
It's called Constantine. It's not
So
Christ.
we here as Christians already have, without history, without understanding, maybe
Yeah.
we're ignorant. We've
Yes.
always thought Christmas is our tradition. It's
Yeah.
our holiday, guys.
So the people who benefit the most from Christmas are not Christians.
Oh, please talk about that.
Christians are the market
for Christmas. Wait. So when we talk about the decorations, we talk about all these beautiful things that make
Yes.
the whole place look beautiful.
Yes.
Christians don't benefit from it.
And by the way,
Somebody somewhere sat and said,
Yes.
this holiday of yours,
yes,
let me manufacture for you
Yep.
everything you need. So somebody somewhere is making money on your holiday.
and please understand, we enjoy the holiday. Please
We
understand,
do.
we have no problem with a Christmas tree. You can put up one for fun. We
We'll
enjoy
talk about it. We'll talk about
Yes.
it.
But let me say something.
Yeah.
Christmas, the Xmas in Christmas is not the removal of Christ.
Okay?
It is derived from the Greek. In the Greek, X is the first letter of Christ's name. Christos, X-R-I-S-T-O-S.
Christos.
So when
okay?
they say Xmas, they have not removed Christ. They've just put the Greek version in.
X-R-I-S-T-O-S.
Yes.
So when I come and say Xmas, I'm still saying Christmas,
Yes.
only that I'm using the Greek.
The Greek alphabet.
Oh, please.
Nothing has changed.
All right.
So Christmas is just a term. We've told you where it was coined from. So that it has Xmas or not. I hear all sorts of things. There's a major channel in the US, I will not mention it, that actually did a whole series on the attack on Christmas.
They're removing Christ and
They're
putting,
removing Christ and now they are
replacing-
saying happy holidays. They're saying Xmas. They're trying to remove Christ from Christmas. They are doing you a favor.
Now we are simply saying, if you are of the kingdom of God, let Christmas have no effect the same way Diwali has no effect on you. Ramadan has no effect on you.
You can enjoy
Eid.
them.
I mean,
Have fun.
we are told
It's
we
a
are public
celebrity.
holidays.
Yes.
We go out, we
Have
have lunch
fun.
and something, but we
Yes.
are not carried with the events and the rituals
Yes.
of Diwali because they have no meaning in our lives. Now we are simply saying, let Christmas have no effect. But you know what? Enjoy the holiday.
There you go.
Travel. Go for lunch with your family. Meet your siblings. Do whatever. But don't let Christmas be the reason you're meeting your siblings. After that, the whole year you tell them, by the way, I'll see you
Yes.
next year Christmas.
Exactly.
You know?
And don't go bashing Christmas. Don't use this message as an attack.
Yes.
We are extracting truth from a lie. We are not attacking anything. Those who want to celebrate Christmas as the birth of Christ, if it brings them closer to Christ, let them be.
That's powerful if it brings them closer.
Yeah, let them be. Don't start being the
Let me
person
ask
who
you
attacks.
here, let me ask you here. When you talk of Christmas, there's one
Yes.
thing that comes with Christmas. Giving gifts to the less
Yes.
privileged.
Absolutely.
And there's somebody who will tell you the homes, of course they know Christmas, people will come, strangers
Yes.
will bring them this.
Yes.
Go ahead and do it.
Do it. And in
Is
fact,
that wrong?
in fact,
Yeah.
go beyond Christmas. Start at Christmas and go beyond.
Because what we do as Christians is the wrong way round, where we only visit the homes in December.
Yep.
Then we leave them
That's
to survive until
That's
the
it.
next December.
And now that you've talked of gifts,
Yeah.
you've talked of clothes, you've talked of shoes,
Yes.
we have to introduce another person. Of
All right?
Another interesting individual
Okay.
who is part of Christmas, who most people have no clue where he came from.
Please tell us.
And now he came. He's called Father Christmas.
He has many names.
Father Christmas, also known as Santa Claus.
Okay.
So where did Father Christmas / Santa Claus come from? Like I said, we take things, we upgrade them,
Yes.
we include them. Now, during the Middle Ages, an interesting guy called Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra. Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra. Nicholas was famous in Turkey for giving to the poor. He was famous for helping. There was a culture there that young girls would be married off, but their fathers had to pay dowry. So Nicholas, stories are told of how he would climb on roofs and drop gold coins. That's why Santa Claus comes down the chimney.
Yes.
Drop down coins through the chimney so that they could be able to pay off the wedding, so that they don't end up selling off their daughters.
Yeah.
He was saving lives. He was known to give gifts to children, and he liked putting them in socks. And now you know where it comes from.
He would ride on a donkey.
Yes, he would ride on a donkey,
Yeah.
put it in socks, and deliver. And he would do it secretly. So nobody knew who did it.
Wow.
But there are people who knew, of course,
Yes.
who he was.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts. That's a background. So his name shifted from, when he
Nicholas.
died, he was made a saint by
Yes.
the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So he was not a Saint Nicholas, the bishop of gifts, or of giving, who loves children. He was always giving gifts to children. Notice the history. True story.
21st century he's become.
Fast forward, it's Father Christmas who
Father
comes to the
Christmas.
roof and brings people gifts and puts them in in stockings.
Okay.
Now,
Socks, yes.
how did he become red?
Guys, this is fun part. Remember we said this series, it's not one of those theology,
Yes.
where theological teachings where you have to come and sit and say, I'm taking notes. Some of
Yes.
them you just sit and say, wait, stop. You mean
Yes.
this was Nicholas?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now
Yes.
that is red and white.
Yes.
Where are the colors from?
Actually, there's a cartoonist called Thomas Nast
Okay.
in 1860
Yeah.
who was the first person to draw Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas in the fashion we know him now.
Yes.
Red, black belt, boots, hat, and
Beards,
so on,
yes.
beards and so on.
Yes.
Suddenly, Santa Claus was upgraded. He was given, because he has to travel so far,
To give
to
gifts.
take gifts to children, he needs transport.
All right.
So his initial transport during winter, because Christmas is in winter.
Yes.
Remember, December 25th is the middle of winter.
Yes.
He needs a warm outfit.
Yes.
He needs boots. And because nobody else is working, he needs a sleigh pulled by deer. So even the deers, we've given them names. Randolph, the red-nosed deer. We've become very creative as we go along.
All right.
But because it travels across the world, this sleigh had to fly. So now, authors began to write stories, fictional stories about Santa Claus. Different authors, go look up the stories. And those stories became part of our current narratives of who he is. But the place that his image hit worldwide was in 1020. In 1020, Coca-Cola were rebranding.
The
and-
Coca-Cola we know.
Coca-Cola were
They are
rebranding.
part of this story.
Yes.
Okay.
And it just so worked out
Yes.
that the cartoonist had given Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas, Father Christmas, the colors of Coca-Cola
Red
and white.
and white.
So Coca-Cola used Santa to market Coke. And how they did it, they showed Santa working very hard, dropping gifts, and needed a Coke.
He needed, you know those adverts where you look at Coke and you're like, dear Lord, I'm fasting, I'm dieting, whatever
Yes.
it is, but I need a cold
And
Coke.
they had this jolly, happy Santa.
Yes,
drinking Coke.
yes.
Actually, they said it was such a powerful advertising campaign that children began leaving Coke outside the door for Santa.
Oh, he needs to come and have
Yes,
Coke.
he's working so hard when he's delivering
This
gifts.
must have been the greatest brand
Yes,
partnership of all time.
Not only is it the greatest,
Yeah.
it is reinvented every.
And notice something.
Yes.
This Santa is always happy.
Yes.
I mean, Santa, he can only match Buddha. Do you know Buddha is always laughing?
Two happy people.
Two happy people.
The laughing
But
Buddha.
if you look at
Yes.
Santa,
Yes.
he actually makes you feel like, listen, I want a Coca-Cola.
Yes.
You know?
And you know the joke? Santa drinks a cold Coke in the snow. But who cares?
Who cares, my friend? Right? I need one cold one. I need a cold Coke. You know, when you see those adverts, you feel
Because
like, yes.
he's jolly, he's happy.
Yes.
He's part of the merrymaking.
Well, I
Greatest
should,
brand.
I should have known who is the marketing manager of that time so that we also remember him, that guys.
That was a brilliant
That
idea.
was brilliant.
It
That
is one
was-
of the things that now made Coca-Cola one of the most powerful marketing companies in the world. And Coca-Cola has become the festive brand of all time.
What about Christmas carols? Because here we are now, we have Santa Claus. Of course, now we know this guy. We love him because he gives gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this is the big joke. Remove Christmas carols.
Okay.
Let's use the word
Carols. All right.
because we already have in our mind what?
Christmas.
Actually, carols were first sung in Europe thousands of years ago, but they were not Christmas carols. They were just songs that were sung about winter, summer. In fact, they were very famous in that window of the winter ending
Yes.
and the sun rising. There were many songs that were composed for that.
That famous moment when the sun was being born.
Exactly. So in the same way
Yeah.
that we borrowed the birth, we now borrow the tunes.
Now let me ask you before you go on with your carols. Yeah. You say these are thousands of years ago.
Yes.
They used to sing these carols.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Can you imagine those guys who used to sing thousands of years ago? If they rose today and found us singing the same, they'll be like, okay, guys, are you not creative? For your generation, come up with something else. I mean, do something different.
Yes.
Because if you notice, the songs we've sung, especially what we call now Christmas carols,
Yes.
I mean, these things have been sung over and over. We don't get something new.
Yes. Now, what is
No
interesting?
creativity,
But
yeah.
but the strange thing, these things are so powerful. They've lasted 400-500 years. We still
Yes.
sing them with the same tunes.
Yes.
But why? Here's the thing. A carol actually means a dance or a song of praise and joy, of good tidings.
Okay.
Good
Yes.
tidings of comfort and joy. That was the principle. Why? The sun is about to rise. We're going back to good life.
So
Winter
you're
is
separating
over.
carols here
Yes.
with Christmas. Now there's what you call the Christmas carols. These are written
Yes.
for this season.
These were for
Every
seasons.
season had its own carols. Okay.
And they held hands, they sang, and they were happy. And so the carol specifically was more powerful because it was the end of winter. In fact, the strongest carols that remained, there were carols for every season.
Yes.
The rest died out.
Okay.
The ones that remained were the ones that were for the winter going into the sunrise. So they became so powerful that later they were now pulled in.
Into Christmas.
Yes.
The famous Christmas.
So the Christmas ones are the ones that survived. In fact, the first group of people that actually were known to sing them for Christmas, strangely, were actually priests. The priests under what is called the Franciscan priests, under St. Francis of Assisi.
I think now, sometimes, if you find my husband at home, he'll be watching all sorts of things, and I'm like, okay, why do you have to watch this thing that tells you about the history of the Catholic Church? And then he'll be telling you Francis of Assisi. You'll be watching his
Yes.
story and all that.
Yes, yes.
And I'm like, okay, why do you watch all this? But when you're talking, he has all these things of picking from this person and saying, listen, you know this, you remember? And I'm like, wow, it makes sense.
Yes.
And of course, I've started enjoying history
Yes,
channels and
yes.
all.
Like now,
enjoying history.
I'm making her watch a documentary series on what I would term a rogue archaeologist
Yes.
who's beginning to requery that early civilizations were probably much more intelligent than we claim they are. And right now, he's navigating what can only be called the flood of Noah. So
And
I
then
enjoy such things.
I think for you, when I find all this, in a
Yes.
conversation like this, is where I appreciate those research and reading those kind of
Yes.
books.
Yes.
Because when you pick up all these things, you're like, imagine if Christians understood where something came from. But do you realize going back to the history is not
Yes.
fun? I'll prefer you go do it and summarize for me. Just come and tell me about this Nicholas guy.
For me, not only is it fun,
Yeah.
not only is it easy,
Yeah.
but God has graced me to see the dots. So I can see one story here, see another story there, see another one there. When I combine them, I see the picture, I come back to scripture,
Yes.
clarity comes. That's the way I'm designed. That's how all of us are designed different.
I've learned how to say, in
Yes.
the 1240, you're like, why are you talking about those years in the 1640s?
Why does it matter?
You're like, okay, wait. Okay, sometimes I used to tell him, don't tell me
Get
when
to the
the
point.
Puritans came to power in England in 1640. No, just tell me, in this time this happened.
Yes.
All right? But now I've appreciated, when you talk about this happened in this time, I think it's,
Yes.
for church, I think this is
Yes.
something you should be saying. I would love this kind of sit downs and talks and conversations.
They help you
Yeah.
understand. Now, after some time, in the 14 to 1600s, people now began to use the tunes but give them Christian words.
Okay.
That's why the tunes never end.
Yes.
Silent night, same tune.
Holy night.
Does not. And by the way, they are beautiful, nice songs. I love Christmas
Yeah.
songs. I don't believe them.
But you enjoy
I
it.
love them. I enjoy the sound.
fact,
the
sometimes
tune,
when we sing
the
and
vocal
harmonize it, you're like,
arrangement,
"Oh, that's
the harmony.
beautiful." Yes.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is just the same way that you can tell a child a fantasy story and they love it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to believe it. So listen, we're not those spooky people that say don't switch that on. There's nothing demonic in it. It is just ignorant.
Let's sing for them so that they know we sing this thing. Silent night.
I'm not going down that road.
Let's just sing.
No, you're not singing Silent Night.
Start.
I'm not singing.
Start,
I will
listen.
record differently. I'm not singing.
Just sing one line.
Once a bug bites, everybody wants to sing.
Okay.
Enjoy the song.
Yes.
My greatest of all time Christian song is Mary Did You Know? I love those songs. You never know. I might sing and I might put it up. Maybe. Maybe not. But I'll sing it.
Remember, this
to
is
myself.
Christmas.
We're
This
having
is that
fun,
season when
guys.
we are home and you're looking for something to do.
That's it.
Play
That's
your
it.
guitar.
And no critique on our singing, by the way. Sing your own.
And upload it.
Sing your own and upload it. Do not
Yes.
critique ours.
Okay.
So, now please understand, strangely, over the years, different people have discovered some of the things we are saying, and I've had all sorts of reactions. Like the Puritans that you say I like talking about. In the 1600s, two levels. One, those of them were in charge in England, and then later, under persecution, they left and went to the US. But you know, they banned Christmas. They banned singing of carols. Listen, 22 years.
There was no Christmas.
No Christmas, no singing, because they said it comes from a pagan background. This thing still happened, but it is said that people went underground and sang the songs in secret. That's why they never disappeared. So
these guys banned Christmas for 22
Yes.
years. I think for me, I would not even say like, oh no, people miss Christmas. I'm like, no, there's an economy that disappeared.
Exactly.
22 years is a long
But by
time.
that time, it wasn't as big an economy as now.
Right
Nowadays,
now.
you can't shut it down. Actually, the current Christmas songs as we know them have to be attributed to two fellows in England called William Sandys and Davis Gilbert.
Okay.
They went looking for all these songs, compiled them, and redid them, and began to do what today we are used to call carol singing. They're the inventors, where people go out in the street on Christmas Eve
Yes.
and sing. And when you sing, they have a little basket, you give them something. I'm sure you've made those kind of things now. Towards Christmas Eve, you have all these groups doing Christmas carols.
Yes.
It became a big thing. Concerts are done, all sorts of things. They're the ones who rebirthed that journey.
You call them who? William Sandys?
William Sandys and Davis Gilbert. They really collected them. That's why now we have a collection of songs. Over time, people retuned them, gave them better tunes.
Yes.
And so on. That's what now we are receiving in our day.
And there's someone who will be like, you
Yes.
know what? When you talk about there's Noel,
Yes.
and you're like, you know what? Sometimes go through those songs, and read the whole thing and ask yourself, where did this
What
come
do you
from?
mean?
Even the song
What
you're
is
singing.
Noel? You know.
Sometimes when you go
Yeah.
through the whole song, you're like, wait a minute, what is this song saying?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la. What are those? But they're Christmas songs. And they are fun to sing.
Yeah.
And they're enjoyable. So it was later that they came into church. The carols were mostly sung in the streets, sung all over during Christmas. So it's interesting because a whole economy grew out of that. And now we know almost every Christmas Eve we have a carol service.
Oh, yes.
Or what you call
Or you
a
go-
watch night.
or you go
a
to the
wait
mall.
Yes.
Sometimes you go to the mall and
There'll be
listen
a
to the
choir
carols.
there.
Yes.
Yes. So now, carol services are creative, they are popular, they've been upgraded, they come to the street, they go to concerts, they are popular.
Yes.
And many of those songs, guys, are centuries old.
And the tunes?
The tunes remain the same. That's how powerful they are.
Wow.
That's how powerful they are.
So, if you're talking about carols, Christmas carols now, let's talk about Christmas tree.
The Christmas tree.
That
Now,
one which we love decorating. And you buy, of course, the day you're doing your tree
Yes.
is the day, of course, with your children and
Yeah.
you decorate. It is a fun thing.
Yes.
This is not something you do in private alone and you're...
Exactly.
you
And
know?
when you've done it, you take a photo.
Oh, yes.
Nice. Guys, please, please, please. Leave your Christmas tree alone after we talk.
Okay.
Don't cut them.
All right.
Don't stop. And next year, have another one.
Yes.
It's a fun thing.
Yes.
A Christmas tree, a birthday cake, a wedding dress, same WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group, all of them, because you could be talking of Christmas
Yes.
and somebody else you're telling them, listen, we are coming to the weddings,
Yes.
The
Where did we
white
get the white
gown.
dress from? Where did we? All these things.
birthdays, and you're like, oh,
Invented.
we have a birthday cake.
Candles on the cake.
Oh, guys.
Where did we get
all
them
these
from?
things are just fun things, Where they came from is a
Yes. So don't make them strongholds. They are fun things.
Mm-hmm.
And they do not add or take away your spirituality.
Yes.
Okay? So long before the advent of Christianity, plants and trees that remained green through winter had special meaning to
Okay.
all the people who lived in those places. This is important. In their mind, any tree that survives winter is a special tree. It is indomitable because everything dies
Yes.
in winter. So a tree that does not die in winter is a special tree. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's why the fir tree, the fir tree, depends on what you call it, FIR, is the go-to Christmas tree because it survives winter, it remains green. And because of that, it began to get a symbolism. The symbolism was that this tree can survive any season. Therefore, this tree is special. For it to survive, it means it can survive disease, it can survive sickness, it can survive luck, it can survive anything. And it was a tree that was so powerful that it survived until the new season. So because of that, it became a tree of value as a symbol of seasons changing to a new life, or your life always doing well. So people began to have, initially before the tree, they would have pieces hung in the house or so on as a sign of good luck.
Of the same branches.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a sign that the life in this home will do well, and so on.
Yes.
So that's primarily where it came from. Now, over time, because of that, people began to put things on it, because if it had been a fruit tree, it would have had fruits throughout. It would have had good things throughout. So, in some countries, they even believe that it chased bad luck, it chased evil. Having it during that winter meant everything works for you. It could also bring healing. Now, the Christmas tree we know today has to be credited to Germany. It is the Germans, and so much so the German Christians. You must remember, Martin Luther seceded from the Pope. The Pope came from originally Rome. Track the journey.
Okay.
Christmas is already embedded. He was a Catholic priest. So Germany is where the Christmas tree came from. Christmas tree became something they were the first to decorate it.
And
the first to start
bring the trees into their homes.
They were the first people to do this. And they would do a lot of that during Christmas. Now in 1846, this is now the marketing and branding and appearing of the Christmas tree. In 1846, the then popular Queen Victoria and her German husband, Prince Albert, not only had brought a Christmas tree, he brought it into the home, but what is called the London News had a picture, a sketch of the family around the tree with lights and gifts. That, because they were such a popular couple, suddenly everybody copied them.
People saw something and decided this is it.
People copied them. It became fashionable in Britain. It now moved on around the world. It became normal for people to decorate this reality.
I mean, like we talk of the Christmas tree. Now it has arrived in Africa. Of course, here we are, and every other part of the world, because everywhere, I mean, you'll always find Christmas being celebrated. Now, when you hear these stories, do they make you not feel that, yes, I've been doing this thing, but really, I've never sat to think the impact.
Why?
The impact. And remember, we started by saying this is where Matthew and Luke, the birth of Jesus, now separate the birth of Jesus from Christmas. Now we are talking about Christmas and the events that go with it, the rituals and the activities that go with this Christmas. And when I listen to this, I'm like, okay, history, I would love to go back again and look at history, understand these things. And there are some of them, like now the Christmas tree. I don't see any evil in it.
Listen, it is even said, it is funny that as time evolved, the Europeans maintained small trees, but the Americans, their tree must touch the ceiling, and so on. Now that you have the backstory, you now know where we borrow the stuff from. To bring to the tree.
The tree has a star.
Yeah. Nowadays, you also, if possible, you bring the animals down there. The manger
and the gifts.
It's okay. Do what you will.
So even if you look at the current Christmas tree, it combines the whole story again. It goes and picks up all the stories,
all the things,
and brings them under the tree
together. It's okay. But listen, let me talk about one or two fun ones. Traditions that are more recent, that came up in the 80s. There's something called the ugly Christmas sweaters. Ugly. As in, Christmas sweaters are not fashionable. Yet, they are so famous. And they're actually silly. That one is an invention of the Canadians. They just started having ugly Christmas sweaters during winter. And different colors. And suddenly, these things are popular. It's now a multi-million-dollar business. You know, if you're going to have a Christmas sweater, it's not going to be cute. It's not going to be trendy. Yet, it's big. The ugly Christmas sweater. Another fun,
I like what you said earlier, that at this point in time now, anyone can bring in their tradition. Just add anything. So the sweaters were added by the Canadians.
Add anything.
All right.
It's all Christmas. Now there's a famous one. I'm sure everybody has seen, the candy cane. It's like a cane and it's candy and the colors of Christmas. What does it have to do with Christmas?
Tell us.
Now the funny thing, this thing was just brought by somebody from Germany. He came with it to America.
Looks like the Germans really loved this.
They had all these celebrations. And it became so nice that somebody decided to make a cane making machine. Invented it, literally in 1950.
Candy.
Yes, since then, for whatever reason, nobody can explain why that candy is part of Christmas. Why do we have a candy like a cane?
But you remember we said, no, I can add my own thing. It
Yes.
looks nice. Actually, when you're decorating stuff,
It's part of you.
You're like, wow, this looks nice. Like you're saying, I don't care where it came from. Somebody
Yes.
else added. So now it's
Yeah.
like, what do we need to add?
Yes.
And notice how things are coming from different people and
Yes.
becoming global.
Exactly.
You know?
And to talk about additions, one good one was actually off of an invention.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison, all know him.
Yes.
He invented the light bulb. But he had a partner and friend called Edward Hibbert Johnson. Edward Hibbert Johnson saw that Christmas was such a big deal.
Yeah.
He came up with his own thing. He created Christmas lights. You know the lights
Yes.
on a string?
Yeah.
Everywhere. And we all love them.
Because now a tree without lights.
Yes.
I mean,
and he did it
Yeah.
for the Christmas tree in New York in 1882, because now cities have Christmas trees.
yes.
So on that one, he realized this Christmas tree, it has things, but it's looking boring.
Okay, let me
So
put some lights.
he invented the string light.
1882.
So the string light was first invented for a Christmas tree in 1882. Today, we use them for everything.
Yes.
So at least an inventor took advantage of Christmas and added, simply meaning, what are we saying? You can add anything to this. It is not adding or taking away from Christ. It has no connection about this.
So what we are simply saying, separate Christmas rituals, activities, and the many, many traditions of men
Yes.
from the birth of Christ.
Absolutely.
And again, we said that the birth of Christ is so meaningful. I mean, we have to always go back and say, wait a minute, why was Christ born? Even the
Yes.
journey to his birth
Thank you.
is such a powerful thing.
Yes.
But what does Christmas, if we mix the two, Christmas just removes the power and leaves us with a shell of an activity.
Absolutely.
An activity that makes the birth and the life of Christ less meaningful in our lives. And that means it has no impact. Really, no meaning.
No meaning.
It just becomes a moment
Yes.
where we all come and have merry, we
fun.
eat, we drink, and we continue until next year.
Yes.
So this is the first time we are telling people, yes, go back, have your food.
Enjoy yourself.
But you know what? At no time should you put Christ down. You know that one of Christ down because we're in Christmas? Heaven does not go for Christmas.
No.
We always must know that we keep the conversations of God going.
Exactly.
Yeah?
And so, in the next part, we'll now talk about the true meaning of Christmas.
Okay?
We'll go into why. Why did he come? Why was he born? And where did that even start?
So even though we are using
And
the
what-
word Christmas,
Yes. Yeah, we're not even going to go into Christmas.
there's no Christmas.
We are going to
here.
separate it. We're going to talk about, we've been discussing Christmas up to now.
Yes.
We're going to now go into Christ. And we're going to talk about the power of his birth that should not be celebrated in December. That should be lived every single
That should become
day.
embedded in us.
Yes, that should be a reminder of why he was born. What did he come to do? We were not going to, when we talk about that, we're not going to talk about his birth.
Okay?
We're going to talk about the reason for his birth and what the meaning of that birth is to us.
Well-
so the date will be relevant,
Yes.
but the issues around it will be crucial.
Now you know what we are saying. That yes, you have time. This of course, starting from this Sunday, we are saying that all the way to the 25th
Yes.
of December,
Yep.
we'll be talking about the myth of Christmas.
Absolutely.
And we'll be talking about the power of the birth of Jesus. We'll be talking about something that will give you a reason to say, listen, I'm celebrating this different. This is the first time I'm saying, my gaze is on Christ.
Yes.
These activities that obscure this birth or this king,
Yes.
this is not where I'm going to check. This is not where my
I'm
gaze
going
should be.
in
Yes.
to extract
Yes.
Christ
Yeah.
from Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to enjoy Christmas.
Yes.
But I'm not going to associate it with Christ.
So I hope none of you thought we came here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. We are simply telling you it is just less impactful. Less impactful. And after this conversation, we go back and say, listen, if we say that we're giving gifts over this season because of Christ, then we must know that our gifts must cross over to the new year.
Exactly. Must go way beyond the idea
Yes.
of during Christmas.
Yes.
We do not only have goodwill at Christmas time. It's not the only time that we revere and remember Christ. No. Christ is birthed in us every day. The reality is part of our journey every day. Christmas is when people have an idea that an event like this happened.
Yeah.
But the event that they are talking about actually doesn't. So you can bring clarity to it.
So when we tell people happy holidays, remember we are simply saying we are just trying to be a bit more royal.
Keep tracking with us, like and follow us on our social media handles, the Cyrus Community on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can send in your questions through Facebook or use the email on your screen. And as Micah 4:4 says, may you be found seated under your vine and under your fig tree. Until our next episode, keep it kingdom, keep it pure.